Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. This is Comics News Today for the 23rd of August. Damn, time is flying. I still can't believe it's 2021. Jesus. Last thing I
Yeah,
remembered, it was
2022 round the
1988,
corner.
and what?
Oh, 2022 round the corner.
And unfortunately, yeah, we're not looking
Yeah.
forward to the years. But I still want my flying car, Booster. I don't know. Where is my flying car?
We were promised it,
We were.
and instead we get lockdowns and we get called racist.
Yep.
That's the future.
Well, you're safe though because you're half a Maori, so you can lean on that
Yeah,
half. So
I'm allowed to. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
they just keep me locked down instead
Oh,
in my
fair
little
enough.
in my little house.
That's true.
Yeah,
How are things going on over there, though? I mean, you do got a beautiful country. I mean, you guys are kind of lucky with that. It is gorgeous over there.
it's a lovely country. Too bad I can't see it.
That's true.
uh,
That is
I'm
true.
whining like I'm not allowed to go outside, like I was gonna go outside anyway.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Uh, have you taken any sightseeing of your own country at all?
I've traveled it plenty.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, yeah. Where's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best place you've been to in New Zealand?
Oh, I personally really like Taupo. It is a tourist destination, right? But it's a
That's
it's a
okay.
very nice looking place. It's beautiful. It's got New Zealand's largest lake.
Ooh.
It's really gorgeous place.
Oh, that sounds neat.
Really like Taupo. Hmm.
And whereabouts is that in the southern island or the northern island?
North Island, right about plop in the middle.
Right in the middle. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my wife and I would really like to take a trip to New Zealand one day. This kind of was on the list, we just go see the sights and mainly a sightseeing, hiking type of vacations, what you guys got,
Oh,
right?
Taupo would be nice for kind of like the tourist merchandising kind of place,
Yeah, yeah.
all that kind of stuff. You got Rotorua, which has the luge and well, very nice restaurants. It smells though. The entire place smells like sulfur because of the mud pits.
Ah, well, we got a place like that near here. It's like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, one
Yeah.
day I will come down and I'll warn you so you can hide.
Oh, good, good, good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. See, I'm nice like that. Anyway, Thundera, how you doing, dude?
Yeah, I'm doing. I'm still waiting for my lovely, lovely local government to get back to me. Other than that, I'm doing.
Oh yeah, the IRS stuff. Yeah, no, I mean it happens to us occasionally, and it's just stupid bureaucracy. You just got to deal with it. But anyway, Combo Boss says, "Come on, Booster, you Kiwis don't need sunlight." Fair enough. And he continues by saying, "Be honest, Chester. You just want to go see the Shire." Yes, and
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
the
It's literally
problem?
what it's literally what New Zealand is known for at this point. Like
That's
we
what
know
it's
we
all
know
been
you
known
because
for.
you got people who do a cool dance.
Yeah.
You got little birds with weird beaks
Yep.
Yet the
and
Kapa Haka.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Cool
Yeah.
dance.
Now,
Yeah,
to be fair, before the Lord of the Rings movie, I didn't even half the time remember New Zealand existed. Let's be fair.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
that's
but
very.
but that
I
movie
have heard
sold your country
references.
though, because it is gorgeous country, dude.
Mhm.
Who knew? Well, you guys knew.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know it was that good looking until you guys keep banging on about it.
Oh, your country's gorgeous, dude. Really. I mean, America itself is also quite has a lot of beautiful things. To be fair,
like
but
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nicer scenery, especially in the Midwest with like
oh yeah,
forests and
the
stuff. So
painted desert and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, it's beautiful. But it's
yeah.
definitely a destination. And you guys also have a super safe country. You have a stable, modern economy. So it's a place you can travel to with as an older person quite
We've got a
safely, right?
great prime minister.
Well, that doesn't affect the tourists, though, right?
Hmm.
Not yet, anyway. Give her time.
Because
I
one of my
mean, I'm pretty sure there's a travel ban, so it kind of
well,
does.
in the future, that's true. You know what I mean. But because when we were younger, we were in our 20s, my wife and I would travel around Southeast Asia, and we had a lot of fun. But as an adult, I don't know that I'd do that. Right? I mean, I don't want to have a tummy ache. So, but
Can't
New
have
Zealand is
that.
definitely on our list. We want to go to Vietnam. We'd love to go to Greece. I'd love to go to Turkey, but fuck that, you know? So, but I mean, when you get older, Booster, you kind of thinking about planning about taking some vacations every couple of years, right? To want to go see stuff. It's kind of what old people do.
I'll get around to it, I'm
You
sure.
will
But
when you're
the
old.
thing is, I'm happier. There's no place I'm happier than just locked up in my room.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's sad to some people, but I love it.
I don't
This
even have a room though, Booster.
is my room.
I guess I have my room that I do my miniature painting and stuff, and I guess it's kinda not really. It's I have a corner in it. I don't have a room, Thundero. What the hell?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
It's not good.
Now you gotta talk to my wife. She
you
decorates
should fix that.
everything.
Yeah.
I would love to. You never let me. You never let us.
Well,
You,
she's
you
not
keep her
here
away.
most of the time, to be fair. But yeah, no, I don't really care. She can decorate and do whatever she wants. I go right ahead. I don't really think of it. I mean, I just kind of sleep here, you know. But
Yeah.
anyway, Combo Bob is continuing his tirade. We need to take it from them. They don't appreciate it, and we need to strip mine those resources. Fair enough, Bob. That's very American of you. Anyway, let's get in to today's stuff. Unless Thundero has anything he'd like to get off his chest. No,
Nope.
no, good, good.
Nope.
Well,
Nope.
we'll save the chest hair for the later singeing. So alrighty here. Let me come over and share my screen, and we'll get into it. We do have some fun things to talk about. So it's not all bad. It's actually I was able to find a few good things, which is good because we need a little levity in our lives. Let's see here, get that up, and then boom.
Oh.
Boom, he
Well, you
says. Boom
I'm
goes the
booming. So
dynamite.
I talk when you boom.
Yes, you do.
Batman writer Scott Snyder to begin teaching writing classes on Substack for $7 a month. All right, what
All right,
the hell
listen.
is Substack? I keep hearing about it, and all the mainstream guys are fleeing to it.
Yeah. Now we talked about it a few weeks back, maybe a month.
I've
And
decided something. I've
yeah,
made an executive decision for the comic book industry and maybe just the writing industry as a whole. No more people named Schneider. Just get them out.
yeah, damn
That,
Germans.
just get them
We
out.
should
All the
protest
Schneiders
them.
Yeah.
got to go. Yep,
Yeah.
got to go.
I like
Fair enough.
Because every single one of them's a problem. Got him to go. Let's go. Move it on.
All right. Well, that's
I
my
like
second
Scott
question.
Snyder. I like
My
Court of Owls.
my yeah, it was good. Yeah. My first thing is the Substack is basically a pay for service for comic books. It's a way to sell comic books on the internet. We talked about it a little while ago. It's not a bad idea. It's kind of what the Comicsgate people were trying to do in the beginning, what they were talking about doing, and they never did because they procrastinated and they were too worried about making their own money, which I'll get to in a minute. However,
Oh.
am I supposed to like Scott Schneider or hate him?
Um,
You can make up your own mind, but I think Court of Owls was good. I don't think he's done, and Black Mirror was good, but other than that, he hasn't done really anything of particular note, if I'm honest.
Okay, good, because I like Court of
Everything
Owls
else
as
is kind
well.
of
It was good.
average.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it. I was just in my
I can't think
politically,
of
I don't want to be
anything else.
politically incorrect, but fair enough.
Yeah.
But this is more Substack news, and what's wrong with that? Okay, good, dude. You're going over, you're doing something independent, getting away from the big two, giving yourself a little more freedom. He's certainly made a name for himself, right? And you're selling your services. There's many places you can do that. You don't have to just do it on Substack. But
and now he gets to live off of it for the foreseeable future.
is that a
Good
bad
job.
thing, though? He is a
No,
pretty good writer.
no, I don't have any problem with it. I just still stand by my new rule. No Snyders.
No
Zach
Schneiders.
ruined it. You ruined it for Ollie. You need to do something about him, Snyders. It's on you. The
You
onus is
guys
on
gotta
them.
haze Zach.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, Scott. You
Sorry,
know,
guys
Scott.
gotta
You got to
get the
do something about your
Scottish soap
cousin.
on him.
Listen, your
Yeah.
cousin's out of control. Somebody's got to get him in line. All right.
Go full metal jacket on him.
yeah, that's true. You know the interesting thing about Scott Schneider here? If you put a little chunk on him, he looks like Booster.
Well, he's
Yeah.
He's got
got
a
too
bit
much
more
hair.
Yeah, a little bit more
Yeah,
hair.
the hair.
He's got
Yeah,
a lot more hair. Yeah.
Yeah,
but he
Booster just
kind of
needs
looks like
to
Booster.
embrace it. He needs to embrace the Stone Cold look
He
and
does.
just shave that
He
sucker
does.
off.
Oh,
I already shaved yesterday.
did you? Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
near bloody bald.
Yeah, that's all
You
right. I
should
mean,
be.
because I've seen your picture. You're actually not a bad looking dude at all.
I'm
And
alright.
if you are
Thanks, Jack,
having
man.
hairline issues, just shave it, dude. Screw it.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Women like it.
Yeah.
They
There's
like
nothing wrong
bald
with it.
heads.
You know something
Yeah.
since you brought that up Stone Cold a minute a second ago. Um, I have a question for you because Thunder, you're
Yeah.
a wrestling fan. Do you like
Oh,
wrestling,
Booster's gonna
Booster?
love this. Love this conversation.
He
Yeah.
doesn't. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a big surprise? All right. So here's the thing. Because did all the research for Cena last week, right? I watched a whole bunch of videos and different things trying to get a feel for Cena, right? And I thought it was a good
Yeah.
conversation yesterday. And we basically agreed. I just think I took the point of view as the buck stops with the boss. You said you feel that Cena should have took initiative. Okay, we agree, right?
Yeah.
But because I did all that research, I had a bunch of wrestling videos in my recommended, right?
Uh-huh.
And I saw one that said Royal Rumble 1997, and I've always loved the concept of the Royal Rumble. I think it's a fun idea. It's a clever creation.
Yes.
And I missed that was part of the section of wrestling I missed, right? Because when I left America, well, when I left and just doing music, I didn't watch anything. I'm too busy. Then I was traveling around the world. I ended up in Asia. I got married, and then a few years later, when my kid was a little bit older, he liked wrestling, so we started watching it together. So I missed like a decade, I think, is about what I missed, or a little less, maybe 8 years. But anyway, so I didn't see the 97 thing. So I watched it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was like The Rock wasn't even being called The Rock yet. He was Rocky
Maya
Monoteo or whatever it
Maya
was.
Villa.
Maya Villa, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like a rookie. It had some old dudes in there, mainly some young guys. It had I can't remember the old Terry Funk was in there. I was like, Terry Funk, Jesus.
Yeah.
But I watched it and it was all right. It was nostalgic and it was interesting and fun. But just rolling on next video was Royal Rumble 1992, and I was like, let it roll. I'll watch it, right? Because my wife and I were enjoying it actually.
Mhm.
And now here's my question. The 92 had all the classic wrestlers in it, a bunch of old guys, right? Not many young ones. But all the
Yeah.
Roddy Piper and
Well, at the time they weren't that old, but yeah.
well, you know what I mean. They were a little old. It had Ric Flair and Hogan. But Hogan, he's not much of a wrestler. Let's be fair. But it had a whole bunch of older guys in there, and
Yeah.
something struck me. I mean, it struck me hard, and I didn't. I never thought of it before because I never looked at wrestling side by side. I was just
Mhm.
looking at it, whatever I was looking at. But I had a comparison between a 5 year gap, right, between this newer generation and the old generation. Dude, the older generation are much better wrestlers, man. They're
That
faster, they're cleaner.
particular one, yeah, probably. If you go a couple years, maybe a year and probably 2 years. If you go 2 years, 99 to 2000, by that time, the generation in 97
Hmm.
had blossomed, if you
Okay,
will, and they were much better.
okay,
Austin was one of the best at that time in the world, just as a wrestler, period. And this is one of the reasons he was being pushed the way he was, because
right.
Bret Hart liked wrestling with him. And Bret Hart wanted to work with him. Basically, just handpicked him, like, you're going to be the guy I work with. And so you had like a little gap there from the early 90s, because you had the 80s guys, right? The 80s, the steroid era.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of them were really good, just at the thing called wrestling. They were
Better
just good at it.
trained, I think. Yeah.
And it wasn't just and the steroid part was just added on to it, right? They look like superheroes, but they were also quite capable in the ring. The 92, like you said, you had Ric Flair, you had all these guys. Ric Flair, one of the greatest of all time, maybe the greatest of all time. Hogan's up there too, maybe not so much in the ring, but
No, but
overall,
on the mic, yeah.
yeah, and overall in draw power and everything. And then just that whole plethora of guys in there. So a couple of years after, The Rock is The Rock, and he's way better of a performer. Austin finally found his full groove. He's not like this weird outlaw redneck thing. He's more just the Stone Cold we came to know, which was still kind of outlaw and redneck, but it was really weird at first. It took a while for him to find the groove with it. And it was probably around 98, 99 when he did that, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Well,
one of the things.
So you had a bunch of those guys who just weren't super great yet, but they were right there. That change from 92 to 97 was a huge, drastic change in the way that they did everything.
Mhm.
And it took them a few years to fully hit their stride. By 2000 was the best year they ever had, the company.
Oh, okay.
Profit-wise.
Well, I figured it was something like that. I was just really shocked because it wasn't just they were faster and quicker in what they were doing. The real thing was how they're selling, right? The way they sell, because we all understand that wrestling is a dance, but it takes two to tango, right? It isn't just you showing good offense. You have to show good getting beaten, right?
Yes.
Those older dudes, they sell the hits, they sell the bombs, the drops, the attack so much better, dude. I
Yes.
was really shocked. I was like, damn. I mean, and one of the reasons Ric Flair is so good isn't what he's doing offensively; it's what he's doing defensively,
Right.
right? Little things like when he's getting kicked or hit on the floor, him every time raising his shoulder just a little bit, so that it's showing more effect, right? Little things like this. These dudes are freaking masters of selling it, and I really was wow, damn, dude. It's a huge amateur professional. Is what
Yeah.
I never looked at
And
it side
it,
by side like
to
that.
be honest, it's gotten worse. For whatever reason, it's evolved, as they'll say. I think it's devolved, to be honest. Because it used to be, yeah, it was fake, obviously. It's not real. They're not really
Sure,
beating the
yeah,
crap out of each other, intentionally anyway. But they would sell it like it was real. Even if they went over the top with it. And what I mean by real, they sold it by what people expected to be real. Like when you actually get in a fight, it doesn't look anything like pro wrestling. But people have watched a lot of movies and things, so they expect people to react to getting hit in the face like they do in the movies, right? Like, oh my god, oh, right? Like they just got hit with a brick. Is how a lot of people how they'll behave. Where in reality, you get a guy with a jab, most likely he's not even going to react too much to it unless you're a
right,
monster of a guy and
yeah.
you can really jab.
Well, they're also
Um,
operating at a distance, right? They have to overreact
right,
because you're in a crowd looking at
right.
it from a distance. So.
But because we now have UFC and things so popularized, they don't sell like they used to at all because people know what it looks like when you punch somebody. So if they oversell, it looks ridiculous. But also, the guys are a lot smaller and they do a lot more big moves with less effect
Yeah,
because they just don't look as impressive. So like a power bomb from Kevin Nash looks impressive as shit because he's 7 foot tall. A power bomb from Rey Mysterio is a lot less impressive because he's 5'5" or whatever.
yeah,
Um, and that's just a reality of it. And they've gotten a lot faster in the maneuvers. And guys like Cornette and even myself, really, I don't really like that. I wish they'd slow down. I wish they'd take it back to the mat. I think they should ban punches because now they're allowed to punch each other. I don't like that. Get rid of all of it. Go back in time, slow it down, make it wrestling again. And then when people do the bigger stuff, the faster paced stuff or whatever, it would matter more.
yeah. That's
Right now,
fair.
everybody basically wrestles the same, and it's all as fast as I can go, and it
Yeah.
looks like a dance instead of a fight.
A fake fight, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's my point. And but I mean, it's all good. I just didn't realize it. I didn't realize it was just kind of a revelation for me in a way. My sketchbook, I got Booster and I got Thundero. But we also he says CM Punk is a bit overrated. He is good writer and mic guy, but not so much in the wrestling aspect. I actually think he's a fair wrestler. I mean, he can do what he needs to do in the ring. I've never been the hugest CM Punk fan, but I don't dislike him either. He does what he does. He's very popular. I have to tell you something. Thundero mentioned the AEW. I went and checked it out. He came on and joined the AEW a week ago, whatever it was. It was a very recent video,
Friday.
and that is the biggest damn pop I've ever seen, dude.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's up there. It's definitely up there. Uh, yeah, no, people are happy. I'm happy he's back. I'm a
Yeah.
big CM Punk guy. I like him. I like him. I think Sketchbook's kind of right. I don't think he's a bad wrestler or anything. I don't
I
think
think
he's
he's fine.
particularly spectacular in the ring, but he doesn't need to be. As we just said, Hulk Hogan is Hulk
Yeah, he's
Hogan,
not a good
and he
wrestler
was
at
never
all.
spectacular in the ring either. But guess what? Everybody knows who he is. He
Yeah.
had 33 million people watched one of their specials back in the day on TV. So I don't think it matters as much as we like to think it matters. As long as it's salvageable, right? As
Yeah.
long as you're not just completely terrible, you're fine. And Hogan, for the most part, was safe too. Right? People didn't usually get hurt wrestling Hogan. That's a big deal because you don't want to hurt the guy. That's not the point. So,
Yeah,
and
no,
my
of
wife
course.
said Hogan's amazing because she's a big Hogan fan.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, and you like who you want to like. It is all about it is the cult of personality. Speaking of CM Punk.
Yes,
However,
we've ran Booster off. He's muted and
I
deafened
know he
himself.
has.
That's
So
how
we're
much
gonna
he
we're
loves
gonna we're gonna end
wrestling.
it right here. We're gonna go on to something else. But we could talk wrestling. But we won't for Booster's sake. However, I will say this with CM Punk. I'm happy for him though, because when he came out and got that pop, he kept he kept in kayfabe for a good minute, but then he just had to smile. And I'm like,
Yeah.
good for you, dude, because it feels great to get
Oh yeah.
applause from the crowd. But that kind of
And
just
it was for
reverence,
what,
man.
8 minutes
Oh
straight,
Jesus,
just
yeah.
crazy happy. I mean, it's his
Crazy hot.
hometown as well. And honestly, I don't think they could have done that any better. That was
Yeah.
perfect. It was his hometown. It was the United Center, the big basketball arena there. They sold it out. Everybody knew he was going to be there, to the point where people were like, "What if he doesn't show up?" And they like made all these hints that he's coming. They would, oh my god, the egg on their face would have
Yeah.
been like a whole factory of eggs.
But I thought it was wonderful. I was really happy
It
for him,
was.
dude. It's neat. Yeah. Anyway, let's get
I'm
back to
very
it though.
very glad he's back. Let's see if we can get Booster to unmute.
Yeah. Okay. Here
I
we
got
go, Booster. Next article. You're gonna love this one, Booster. You're gonna be your favorite. Go ahead, Booster.
God, he can't hear you.
Booster. Go ahead and read it, dude.
Netflix drops questionable. Oh, there he is. First official look at live action Cowboy Bebop series. Radical Edwards still missing.
Okay. And now I'm assuming everyone here is a Cowboy Bebop fan because it's a really good series, right? I mean, everybody.
I watched a few episodes.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty good.
I'm a huge Cowboy Bebop fan. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. But anyway, so remaking this is a questionable thing to do, in my opinion. However,
Yeah.
no, Edward's not there because Edward is going to probably be something very weird and we're not expecting, even though it already was a little girl dressed as a boy. You would think that would be
With a
enough.
boy name.
Yeah, with a boy name. You think that'd be enough, but I guess not. However, I'm not as interested in that part of the article. What I'm interested is just taking a look at the set photos and see what we think here. Here, let's come down. Here is Spike. Okay. Now they've made him super Asian, whereas Spike was questionably very mixed. He definitely
Yeah.
looked more of a white guy, but
His
whatever.
last name's
Eagle
Spiegel.
is certainly not an Asian name.
Yeah, but
his,
this is a
his
very
last name is
Japanese.
Spiegel.
Yeah,
Spiegel.
Yes, I know. But they've done what they've done, and I'm not hugely bent out of shape about it. Whatever. But looking at, does this guy look like he's going to be able to pull off Spike at all?
No, I don't think so. He doesn't have the swagger.
No.
Spike's swag. That's his whole character, is swagger, and he don't have it.
Yeah.
The reason why that show works is because Spike's so cool. He's just cool, right?
He is cool, and he kind of looks like a deer in the headlights to me right here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that they went with an Asian guy for it, because
No.
it is kind of ambiguous in the
It
book
is
and in the
ambiguous, yeah.
show, and that's fine. I don't, and it's from Japan, so fine, whatever. But they could have found somebody with some swag. There's got to be Japanese men, or Asian men in general. There's got to be at least one who can pull that off.
Several.
This guy ain't it. This guy ain't it. He don't
just
have no
doesn't
swag.
look right. I mean, but and yeah, I know he's mixed, dude. I'm just saying that I don't. That's not. I'm not gonna be a stickler on that, because the look of the day we live in. And besides, the next one's the one I'm stickling on. This guy playing Jet. I mean, Jesus Christ! Look at him sitting on the goddamn couch. There, we got him right here, where they got a couch picture here. Look at this. Talk about out of place. I mean, first of all, if you're going to put a black dude, give me a big giant one, please, because they do make them. Right?
I've seen him. I seen one just the other day at the store, actually. Big old dude.
Yeah.
Had to be 6'6".
Yeah.
Big old boy.
Huge, thick black guy. Go, if that's what you got to do, go ahead. What is this little dude playing Jet for? Are you freaking kidding me? Look at it,
He's
dude.
not very large.
No, he's small and lanky, and it's like, oh, dude, please. And you got a website saying this is the perfect adaptation of Bebop. I'm like, oh my God, suck on it. And once again, she looks okay. She's a bit scrunched. I wish you were a little bit more lanky.
is she's really skinny, actually. Like, if you see other pictures of this girl, she's a stick. Super skinny, but can see all her bones in her chest and in her collarbone and
She
everything.
has no neck.
And yet this outfit has somehow made her look like she's fat. Like she's not super, well, not
It's
fat,
true.
but you know
That
what I
does
mean.
make her look chunkier. But she has no
Yeah.
neck is the problem. Faye has a ballerina's body. And you can find Asian ballerinas. Matter of fact, I grew one. Right?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons fathers like to see their daughters go into ballet is because it creates that ballerina body, right?
Yeah.
Because when my daughter was like 5, my wife is very much a stickler for the kids being in sports at all time. And of course, she's right to think that. We're trying to build their body as part of raising a child. You're growing the child, right? And for some reason, she and my daughter had come down to the decision of either karate or ballet. And I was like, oh, ballet, great. That's going to be fun. And that was the end of the conversation. So, but she's got a no neck scrunched up girl. Go find us an elegant ballerina body lady, and that would have been better because she doesn't look like Faye at all. Now you're saying, does it have to look like the comic book? Yeah, it does. Yes, please. So this is pathetic. Even at least Einstein's there. At least we got Einstein. So where the hell's Ed then? How do you have Einstein in it but not
How do
Ed?
you have Iron without Ed? That don't
Right.
make no sense. How does that work?
So now, will it be good? Will this guy be a good Spike? Maybe. I don't know his acting credentials. Will these people
Plus,
pull it off? Maybe. But it's not a
Spike's
good
kind of
start.
Spike's kind of a wide boy too, right? Like he's not thin. I mean, he is, but he's like he's got wide shoulders and everything. You could say that's an animation style, but okay, but they couldn't find a guy with wide shoulders.
No, he based them on Bruce Lee, dude. He based his body and movement on Bruce Lee is what he did. Now he made him mixed, and he's because that's what he was doing. The guy figures the future. So what race is anyone really? Is the way he was looking at it. And okay, cool, I get that. But I'm not saying these guys can't pull off the acting, and if you read the manga or you've seen the anime, you recognize the scenes of where they are. So they seem to be being faithful to it. So we'll see because I want this to be great. It's just they're not selling me on these characters and the race swap here. If you go to do it, frickin' do it right. This
Yeah.
skinny little dude playing Jet, you've got to be kidding me, dude. Jet towers over them. Literally, Jet's shoulder should be higher than Spike. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Jet's huge, and
Big boy.
yeah, and he's also the kind of the wisdom of the group as well. Is this guy going to be doing that? I hope so. It's just weird choices to me, and of course they're recreating a scene here. Oh, kind of recreating a scene from the anime. But anyway, let me see if the chat has to say. Let's see. Kamakotaku, probably not. All right. Going to be a cosplay movie. I hope it's not, dude. Let's see. Adaptation. Faye looks like a frumpy housewife. Bob says, yeah, she doesn't look like Faye. And I know you can find an elegant looking Asian lady. You can, because Faye is Japanese, I believe, isn't she? I think she is actually Japanese.
Hey, Valentine?
Yeah. Now I
I
thought
think so.
I think she was.
I think so.
I think she was.
But technically, if we're going to be totally technical, Spike's a Martian.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Faye is from Earth, though, I think. But anyway, get a black Bubba, and then it works. Well, if you're going to make him black, just go get one of those big giant black dudes, man. They do make them. I mean, geez. Give a big brother a paycheck, man.
See, Sketchbook says he usually defaults all anime characters as Japanese. Why, though? A lot of anime characters have not Japanese names. Why would they be Japanese? Just because they come from Japan.
And the Japanese...
And a lot of them are blonde!
Yeah, no, the Japanese intentionally want to make things that are not Japanese. They're intentionally doing that. They have a hard time making it look non-Japanese, to be fair. They can't draw Western eyes at all. But their intention...
It's usually quite ambiguous, unless their name is like Naruto Umezaki or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but the Japanese like to tell foreign stories. They really enjoy it. And that's
like
cool.
a good example is in Bleach. There's a whole group of people a group of enemies who have German names, and fairly clearly, except for like one of them, not Japanese. Like the obviously aren't, and it just I don't know. I don't understand that because he's not wrong. That's how a lot of people think, right? They assume an anime character is supposed to look Japanese when clearly that wasn't the case.
Not
That wasn't
true.
the intention of the
not.
author. Like I mean, Jet, for crying out loud, is he Japanese? He's clearly not Japanese.
No,
So
and
What about
and
Goku? What the fuck is Goku supposed to be? Apart from Saiyan.
yes, he's a Saiyan. He's not Japanese.
Yeah.
He's a monkey, for crying out loud.
he's Wukong is what he is. He's but they do that a lot. Japanese love Western fantasy and fables and mythologies, and they're always telling those stories, right?
Well, the West is
Like
the best. They understand it. They know it.
well, like for
They won't
instance,
admit it.
another really big one, Evangelion, right? That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's all
Oh, yeah.
based on Christian mythology, right?
Yeah.
They love to do that here. They're not like these idiots in the West that everything has to be done by your own racial group. The Japanese aren't like that at all. Now, Bob is correct. Faye was a smoke show, not this bullshit. That is fair, dude.
Yeah, Faye was, woo boy. Faye was wanted you to do watercoloring. You'd want to do watercoloring with that girl. A little dabbling, because
Yeah.
it was well drawn.
Yeah, no, it was. The whole thing was well done. My sketchbook says you mentioned his thing of defaulting to the Japanese, and we just did talk about it. And I understand your thinking though. It's not necessarily the wrong thing to think, but Japanese usually don't think that way at all. The Japanese are not restricted by culture or race in any way. And to be fair, neither should anybody else. I mean,
And
if you want
sometimes
diversity, then be diverse, right?
they make absolutely hilarious caricatures of other races, and I love it because they don't care, and I love it because nobody should care because it's a joke. Don't take it serious. Stop being everybody's too damn serious.
It's true.
Stop being so serious.
Have some fun.
Listen,
Yeah.
don't take life so seriously because you're not going to make it out alive. All right? Nobody gets out of this thing alive. You're
No,
not
that's
coming off
true.
this rock alive unless you're Elon Musk going to Mars, and then the rock he lands on, he's not getting off that one either.
Yeah.
So,
Now they got John Cho, which he looks so Japanese, but I guess he's not. If you look at his body here, he's an older dude. He's clearly an older actor, but he's taking it seriously anyway.
yeah, he's shredded.
Yeah, rock on it, dude. You go, and it's the
He's
right
still
kind
too
of short.
narrow, though.
This guy's from fucking Harold and Kumar. That's
Yeah.
It's that guy.
Harold, right?
It's that guy.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Terrible.
Okay. All right. That
And
is
but I
horrible.
still say he's too skinny, not weight wise, but his shoulder. He's not broad enough. I don't
No.
like it.
He doesn't
I like
look
it.
quite right, but
Yeah.
my fingers are still crossed. I hope it sells well, but every time Jet's on screen, it's going to bug me because he's too little.
Bro, it's Netflix. Why are you hoping? I would
Yeah.
abandon all hope. Ye who enter here immediately because there's only madness lies that way, sir. Only madness. There literally be dragons over there, and they have pink bow ties. All right, you don't want none of these gay. They shoot rainbows. You don't want none of these gay dragons.
A few good shows, and they made a couple of good shows. Next thing you know, Netflix gone fucking mad.
Yeah, they're an insane place that does insane things,
Yeah.
and insane people pay them to do these insane things, and I don't know why.
And I know, but this is another one of those sacred cows you would hope that they would show some respect for. And to be
They
fair,
won't.
but to be fair, just looking at it though, they are these. We know where this scene is. I know exactly where this scene is. Down here, I can have a general idea of what they're doing here. So it feels like they are kind of trying to be true to it. With the because there are requirements. Understand, if you're a creator, you have to put this stuff in. Like Villanova, he was required to have a certain number of black actors, even though they weren't in Dune, and he had to figure out how to do it. They're required to do this, so this is probably a requirement for Netflix or whoever
Yeah.
did the thing. But I'm just saying, if you go to do that, well, give us a proper jet, please. But anyway,
The chances of this being decent are pretty good. The chances of it being good are pretty low. I'd say it's probably going to end up being about it. It's going to be like The Witcher. I give The Witcher a 6 to a 7. Henry Cavill, I give a 9, 9.5. Amazing, but everything else around him is just okay. I think this is going to kind of be the same way. I think Cho will probably do a fantastic job, but he just won't have it to carry this character. But what they give him to do, he'll do a great job on it, and he's clearly taking it seriously. He's an amazing
he is.
shit.
Yeah, and
So I
I
think
hope
it's
so
going to
too.
end up right there in that decent category. Not really good, not great, but decent,
Well, all they
good
got to do is
enough.
just make some entertainment. I mean, come on now. I mean, it's not
And
that
they
hard.
do seem to be at least trying with a veneer, right, to be respectful of the source material. It looks close, right? I mean, as good as you're pretty close. I think they could have done better casting. I agree, but they have mostly the aesthetic seems to be from the shots we've seen. They're going for it anyway. Whether or not they're going to pull it off in the actual film, we don't know. These are stills. But once we get to the movie, if it'll carry, because that's the big part about Cowboy Bebop. It's the characters are great and Spike's really cool and Jeff's really nice and all this and Faye's sexy, but it's the everything else around it has so much charisma. The world, the way it's shot, the details here or there that are never fully explained. They just are.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that's what makes that such a great and memorable experience. And then the character work on top of it. So if they can get that right, that'll do most of the work for them, to be honest. And we'll see. There's only one way to find out.
yeah. No, and that's true. My sketchbook. But I understand this is a lot of these Western things in manga and anime that the Japanese are emulating. They're emulating it. It's from their point of view. It's how they see it. So yeah, maybe this is a person from Arabia, or this is a German or a Russian or whatever. But it's their idea of what those things are. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that a lot of times maybe it might not sell you on thinking, oh, this was supposed to be an Arab character, even though from their point of view, well, it was. Right. It's just how the Japanese are. But understand the Japanese have no ties or restrictions to things having to be Japanese at all. They're quite the
Yeah.
opposite in that regard, actually. But anyway, let's move on. I got my fingers crossed, though. Maybe it doesn't look exactly correct, but maybe it'll be fun. Anyway, next booster.
What do we have here? Kevin Feige promises Shang-Chi is as big as anything that we've ever brought to life in the MCU before. Why do they feel
Oh
this
my
need to reassure
gosh.
people constantly? It's
They
very
know.
strange.
No, I think
They
they
know
know.
it's
I
a piece of
think
crap.
no. They know this is it. If Shang-Chi flops, the MCU might be screwed. I'm being serious.
Ah,
Like they might get a massive funding pull from Disney because, like we saw in that other story, the new CEO Chapek is actually starting to flex, and he's all about
He
the
is.
money.
He is.
He's
Yeah.
not happy with the way that these have been losing money and how much they cost. Black Widow was a flop. This is going to be a flop. Just spoiler, and they're not happy.
Yeah.
I think Loki and these shows have probably been flops compared to what they've paid for them. And I don't think the financial department's happy with it. The MCU was a money cow
Yep.
for a decade for them, and it's not anymore. And it's never going to be again, spoiler. But I think you're going to see if this movie is a big flop. It doesn't have to be if it flops a little bit but gets close, it'll probably be okay. If it's a hard flop, like 20-30%, that's ill totems right there, right? That's ill tides
Yeah.
because I don't think Disney has faith in the MCU. I think Disney has faith in the money the MCU is making, and Disney wants to do two things. They do want to make money, but they want to push an agenda too. But they can only push the agenda if people are watching the shit. So if people aren't watching it, it's a waste of time. And as we saw with Black Widow, people just didn't watch it. It just didn't happen. People weren't interested for myriad of reasons,
Yeah. Mainly because
but
they
they just
won't shut
weren't.
their damn mouth. That's why.
Yeah, if they would just shut up and put out movies, just tell their people tell their actors or whatever on social media to shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up. Don't even post. Just delete your account. Like put that in their contract. Then they would probably sell more tickets. To be honest, they get more attention, positive attention, because a lot of people have caught on to the outrage marketing game, and they're just not falling for it. They're
Yeah.
just not falling for it.
What
So I think it's fear is what you're seeing here. This is fear.
Oh yeah.
Is what this
No, it's
is.
definitely a reaction. Butcher, what do you think about the fact that Shang-Chi will be as big a spectacle as anything they've ever made before?
anything they've ever made.
That's what he said.
I think the lead actor has a real fucking chip on his shoulder. He seems
yeah.
to think that there's never been Asian
Yeah.
representation in
Oh,
Western market
By,
ever.
by
That's
the
been
way, Booster,
completely rejected.
there's a Jackie
Yeah.
Chan homage in this movie. Don't tell him he doesn't know who Jackie Chan is.
He never heard of him. Never heard the Asian man. Never heard of probably the most famous Asian actor on the planet. Never heard of him. Don't worry.
Does it just not count as being in
That's right.
Hollywood or cinema if it's not an MCU movie? Is that the
Apparently,
bar
yeah.
we're going for now?
Yeah.
See, Jackie
Because
Chan is
fucking
not
hell.
Asian enough, apparently,
I
right?
get
In
the
The very,
MCU,
very
it's all the
Chinese
ghosts
man.
like fucking die.
Yeah.
It is.
You know what we forgot to mention when we were listening off just off the top of our head Asian actors? We forgot Egg Shen. How dare we?
Oh
Oh,
my egg.
You know, Big
There's
Trouble in
a
Little China.
myriad of them, male, female, everything, that have been in all kinds of roles, good, bad, and indifferent,
Yeah.
for 80 years in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and we're supposed to pretend, well, that was bad representation. How are the Bruce Lee movies bad representation? First of all, Bruce produced most of them, or had a big hand in producing them. So what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand how that's even. What point are we making here? I can understand some of it. Yeah, some of the like old westerns where they made him look like a straight up cartoon character.
Yeah.
Okay, but not all of them were like that. There were a lot of westerns with cool Asian characters in them.
Well, you know, during the 30s, there was a Japanese actress who was quite big deal in Hollywood.
Yeah. It's a nonsense argument from unserious people who are trying desperately to get Twitter to like them and to get, you know, the awfuls to come throw money at them, because for some reason they still believe that those are their audience. There's no data to back that up. None. Zero. In fact, their audience for the MCU was largely teenagers. That's who it was. By and large, it was people in our age group and teenagers.
I don't know why these people take Twitter so fucking seriously. Are they like pigeonholed into it? Is it like
I think so.
Is that all they get their information from? Fucking Twitter?
I think so.
Apparently.
Such a garbage hole.
But Kevin Feige, I call bullshit. In no way is this going to be a spectacle on the level of some of the other ones you made, because you've intentionally told us several times that this is a more down to earth, practical martial art action movie. You said that, so you can't say one thing and then say the other. You know, it doesn't work like that, Mr. Man. You know, this featurette is where Kevin Feige goes on about it.
Next level, eh? Oof.
Next level, yeah, no, it's not.
Heard that before.
And the sad thing about it is, it probably is fine movie. There's probably nothing wrong with it, right? It probably is just a fun little action movie, but they can't shut their damn mouth. Although the one main thing I really wanted to show was this right here, because I get, Mr. Liu, that you're trying to do some kind of Japanese gi here, even though I'm pretty sure Shang-Chi is supposed to be Chinese. But whatever. We got our Japanese gi tied tuxedo here. And I know what you're going for. I get it. But it really looks more like a bathrobe.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, brother.
Oh, he's Canadian. Oh, that explains so much.
He's Canadian Korean. The Chinese people and Chinese were like, nah, no thanks to that, and he's, you know, not handsome, and they were just like, no, we're not interested, thank you.
Yeah.
And so the whole purpose of this was to try and appeal, allegedly, was to try and appeal to China. I think the whole purpose was to appeal to awfuls. But regardless, it's just not going to work. And I have heard no major buzz about this film from anywhere. I haven't seen it on any social media. I haven't heard it in real life. I don't even think most people even know it exists. And I genuinely think what they should have done, and COVID kind of made them do it, but they should have done it for longer, was after Endgame, they should have just paused. Like 5 years. Not made an MCU movie for a while. Just paused and let it cool off.
Yep.
And then come back hard with something awesome like Fantastic Four, X-Men, and explain them, why they're here now, what's going on.
Yeah.
A new villain showed up. I wouldn't have went with Kang, but fine if you want to do Kang. And just run with it. And run from there, like, you know, that 5 year gap. Because there's a 5 year gap already kind of in the story.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Because of the people who came back. So put another 5 years on it. Now you got a 10 years. You had 5 years for those people and then 5 years for these people. The world's changed. You let other people, you know, grow up a bit. They can maybe do some better acting. We're not. There's just so much benefit if they would have just paused. But because they're greedy and they need the money, Disney does, whether anybody wants to believe it or not, they didn't. They just kept going like everything was fine, not realizing that for the audience, the reason Endgame was so big is because for a lot of them, it was just the end. That was it. They were done. They were
And
like, "This is cool.
and
This is it."
and to be honest, what they're trying to play in here is the fact that okay, 5 years ago, half the population of Earth is gone, and then 5 years later, all of a sudden they're all back, and the problems that will ensue. It's a good idea. It's not a bad idea at
Yeah.
all. But they're not playing it out right. They're like in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
He's
What did
never
they
gonna let
do?
that go, is he?
No, I'm not. It's so stupid. But they were trying to play on that, but they did it in the absolute worst way you could.
Yeah.
Especially with that big old stupid speech you get. Fucking God. Anyway, you're a dumbass, Liu. You're
Do
you're a
better.
dumbass. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Are you okay, Booster? Here we go.
I'm okay. Free Guy tops box office. Really? Defeats Paw Patrol. Yes, the movie in the worst weekend since June. Oof.
Yeah,
Forgot that
woof indeed. But I
Free
put
Guy
this
was coming out.
I put this in here because I wanted to kind of look at the state of the cinema because it goes through what the top five I think was for the weekend, and I think it's interesting. This Free Guy trailer thing looked fine, looked interesting. It's something that's certainly up his alley. I have no opinions on Ryan Reynolds' new movie, but it made $5 million more than Paw Patrol, a little teeny kid movie. I mean, Paw Patrol is literally for what? Preschoolers, kindergartners? It's little
Mhm.
kids, right? And fair enough. I mean, cool, but that's not much to brag about, especially when you look at the overall totals. Guy brought in 18.7 million according to the numbers, while Paramount's Paw Patrol only made 13 million. These are pathetic numbers that 5 years ago would be embarrassing,
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
shitting hell.
Yeah. And total for
I mean,
Free
let's
Guy
be
in two
honest,
weekends is 59 million, right?
it's still embarrassing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not a
They
lot.
can play it off as, "Oh, I'm a COVID. Nobody wants to go to the movies." No, nobody wants to go to that movie. Let's say COVID never happened. Say that never happened. That's probably about what it would have made anyway. Let's be honest. It wasn't going to be a big, huge blockbuster film. It's a semi interesting idea for a TV show. It's not a good idea for a movie, and they've tried it
I
a
do think
couple
it
different
looks really
ways.
cringy. I'm
What
not
was
gonna
Yeah,
that,
lie.
Booster?
I think it looks cringy as hell.
A little bit, yeah, yeah. I don't really have an opinion on it, but it doesn't look like something I go to the cinema for. That's true. Yeah.
and I just think they got way too comfortable. Old Hollywood did, and they're getting a bit of a reality check. One, they're putting out stuff that nobody wants to see. They're acting in total hubris with their political bullshit, and the vast majority, obviously, of the viewing public have just decided that they don't care. They simply don't care. They don't want to go watch your nonsense movies. Part of it's COVID, yeah, sure, that's playing a role.
It
But I
is.
think
Yeah.
if you put all of that on COVID, you're missing the point. You're
Yeah.
just missing the plot.
Yeah, no, it's more. And of course, this movie's going to lose tons of money. As you see, their budget's 125 million. Plus, you have to add on advertisement, which they did a lot. So this is just losing ridiculous amounts of money. And they've been losing a lot of money. And you see here that they're going to move it over to digital. Some of their stuff that's failing to try to recoup their money. Now, I've seen this said several times here over the past month or more with all these failures. But here's the thing: how is moving it to your Disney Plus or whatever other plus thing you have? How is that going to recoup your money? It seems like a little bit of sideways bullshit to me, dude.
It is. Because what they can do with that is they can play some funny games with the numbers, so that when they show it to the investors, which is what these things are for, really, it looks better, right? Because they don't have any way of actually knowing without doing like deep dives. There's no real way of knowing what drives people to subscribe necessarily, unless there's a huge uptick at one point, right? Like say they have, I don't know, some movie coming out on their thing and there's a 20-point uptick in subscribers. Okay, well then that was probably the reason.
Sure.
But you still don't know for sure. That's still just a correlation.
Yeah, it's
at
bullshit.
best.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because most Disney Plus subscribers are parents with little kids, is what I'm sure.
Yes.
I mean, that's the demographic, right? Jungle Cruise lost ridiculous amounts of money. Don't Breathe brought in only $5 million, I think, in its second weekend. So, but that's a horror movie, probably cost nothing to make. The Aretha Franklin movie, Respect, didn't make any damn money. Of course, it didn't. Although I do love Aretha Franklin, but who wants to go watch that? Suicide Squad is, in their third weekend, I think, and that movie lost crazy money. Once again, too bad. It's certainly watchable. But just look at this here. The Protege got 2.9 million. I don't even know these movies. Hugh Jackman's Reminiscence, which it seems people are saying is not a bad flick, made $2 million. With freaking Hugh Jackman in it? Are you kidding me? Black Widow is in the top 10. Get this, the number 10 for the weekend with $1 million. These numbers
Jeez.
are pathetic, dude. Pathetic.
That is, ugh. Like there's no way to even describe it. That's terrible. That's
Yeah.
horrendous.
We're looking at a total gross of $63 million over the weekend.
If
That's
this
it.
continues much longer, Hollywood's in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Because those big box offices are what they use to validate their budgets for their movies. And if they don't have them,
Yeah.
they're in trouble.
It's not good, dude. And they talk about the hitman's wife's bodyguard thing, what is this, the third one or what? I don't know. But Booster, $63 million in America domestically, $63.7 million for the entire weekend. That's the gross of the box office
For all of them?
for all of it. Yes.
Oh. Hmm.
That's really bad. Matter of fact, 63 million, if you had a blockbuster movie came out, if that's what you made in one weekend on your one movie, it would be considered a failure, right?
Yeah, if it was just one movie, that's still bad. But all of them? Yeesh.
Imagine if Endgame came out and it only made $60 million. Like that would have been a catastrophe for
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah,
For
no,
DC, for Disney.
absolutely, yeah. And the thing
Imagine a
is,
movie on a $60 million budget.
Yeah.
right, exactly, right. A lot of movies are kind of floating around that budget right now. But the thing also you got to keep in mind is a lot of places in America are open. People can go to the movie theater.
Yep.
So it isn't like they're not they're the cinemas are closed. They're open.
I
So
don't know what's going on totally. It is a weird thing. We would need an actual case study on what's going on. Why are people just tuning out of entertainment?
they are.
This last year, all entertainment's down. Nothing went up. Nothing.
Yeah. They all
That
went
doesn't
down
make
actually.
sense. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. They got nothing else to do, so what are they doing?
Yeah, that's a good question because Netflix is way, way, way down. Disney is
Yep.
way, way, way down. These streaming services are losing, not gaining, during a time where people were home. So what exactly
Yeah.
are people doing? And you would say, well, they're making babies because that's what I'd be doing. But the thing with it is, they're not. The birth
Yep.
rate, the pregnancy rate is way, way down. So what the hell are people doing? Seriously.
The only thing I can figure is playing video games, but not everybody's doing that.
But the video game market's hurting as well.
I know. Well, that largely is because nothing's come out. Like in the last year and a half, what's come out? What big game has come out? It was supposed to be Cyberpunk, and that
Bombed hard, yeah.
that was a disappointment to say the least. Other than that, I'm trying to think. Like, what was the big, huge? I guess you could say Call of Duty games or like
Indie
sports
stuff, maybe?
games.
Indie stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
they just haven't had a huge blockbuster game that, unless I'm completely forgetting one that I can remember. The last one, the one I've been playing lately, is from 2018. Like, it's just been years since they've pushed out something huge, and that's a shame. I guess you could say The Last of Us 2, but that was kind of a flop too. I mean, it made its money, but critically it was a flop.
Yeah,
a lot of the
for
players
sure.
didn't like it.
For sure.
So
But maybe a miracle has happened, guys. Maybe people are going out and playing in their backyard.
that'd be nice. I am.
No.
Lost 52 pounds since
No.
March.
Booster said no. And then
Well, Booster's playing video games and meeting cute girls from wherever she's from. Meeting cute American girls. That's what Booster's been doing. Uh,
I've been
There's
busy
a
late, and I've been very busy with my editing. You know what? I was up until 1 a.m. Posting little booster avatars to censor some nipples and a
aw,
little eggplant emoji on a dong, so that I could put it
nice,
in a comic review.
nice, nice.
I was up at 1 a.m. photoshopping this crap, and I'm thinking, this is where I thought my life would go.
So you have
Here
another
I am.
e-girlfriend? What's this e-girlfriend's name?
None of your business. That's what. Moving on.
Oh, okay. I shall call her Rebecca. She shall be Rebecca. All right.
It'd be pretty funny if that was actually her name. He just nailed it on the first guess.
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Becky.
I did a Rebecca. She was an absolute nightmare. Yeah.
Would you call, if you were dating a Rebecca Booster, would you call her Becky, Becca, or Rebby?
Ooh. Ooh.
I'd kill myself. That's what I fucking.
Alrighty.
Jump off
Fair
the
enough.
board, are you kidding me?
Moving
I don't
on.
want to. I do not want to fucking. I do not want to be dating a Becky. Ugh.
Here we go. Now we're going to have some fun. Here's some fun for you. Go ahead, Booster.
What are we doing? DC Comics creator Jerry Ordway believes comics supporters are being fleeced for hundreds of millions.
Fleeced for hundreds of millions.
Yes.
Fleeced.
Okay. Well, first of all, Mr. Ordway, it would be fleeced for hundreds of thousands, not millions. The Comicsgate has not made anywhere near hundreds of millions. I wish it
No.
had, but it
It
certainly
could've.
hasn't.
Could've.
It could have if they played it right, but they're idiots. So, this is basically anti-Comicsgate stuff, and of course, it's definitely banging on Ethan Van Sciver, as you can tell.
No.
No, yeah. But this is just I'm angry that they made money. Ew. And
Well,
this is
my
what this is.
industry's dying.
Yes.
Um,
And he throws a little shade at Billy as
Yeah,
well.
look.
Don't you pick on Billy Tucci. I will send Booster to your house, sir. All
Leave
right.
Billy
He's a
Tucci out of it.
sweet,
He did nothing
sweet
wrong.
human. Well, because
He is a
Billy's a
good
nice
man.
guy. Don't mess with Billy.
Same with Aaron Leprestri. He's getting a lot of shit at the moment as well, and they're being particularly nasty to him.
Are they? Well,
And
the comic
yeah,
sheet
and it
guys are
reminds
idiots.
me. It reminds me why I didn't like them in the first place.
Yeah, no, they're idiots. I mean, all of us who wanted the Comicsgate to be something and supported it, and all those people who have a positive take on it, great, awesome. But those guys who ended up in charge of it, they're just not clever. They're just not. They're silly people, and their greed shows, and it's like, I mean, come on, dude. You had an opportunity, but I'm not going to sit here and bash on the Comicsgate guys because it's half and half, really. But nevertheless,
At
this
the end of the day, we're in the same boat as them.
yeah, we are. Yeah.
Maybe we're not happy with the direction Comicsgate went, but we're still in the same boat.
Oh,
we're the guys on the boat who are like, hey guys, we got water, taking on water.
Yeah.
And nobody likes that guy, right? We don't want to be the guy on the Titanic who spots the iceberg, and then the captain don't veer away from the iceberg. That's not the guy you want to be. You don't want to be that guy because that guy's got bad news. Nobody wants the guy with the bad news.
Yeah.
But this take here is, I want him to do this. Yeah, Mr. Zurcher, go ahead. Yeah. Try it. See what happens. Hey, if you can convince these people to give you lots and lots of money for a lie, you go ahead.
Yeah, you go right ahead. And that's what he's suggesting. Think of joining Comicsgate, conning the rubes, and then mailing them a woke, liberal, progressive comic. You go for it, dude. You go for it. Because that's the problem with the whole Comicsgate thing. Well, but I mean, that's the problem, Booster, because, what Thundera said is very true. All of us are in the same, and what you said, all of us are in the same boat. We all want in the comic book industry to change. They wouldn't change. So, let's support those who will change it. It's a good idea. It's a great idea. And there's still plenty of people who call themselves Comicsgate who are good people. And I'll support them any day. But they burned down the house, dude. Is what they did.
Yep.
But that's not really what this article is talking about. This article thinks that we're all Comicsgate, you see. Well, we are all Comicsgate, but you know what I mean. So, he just continues. He's like, I'll let Booster use one of his voices.
Ugh,
Go ahead
Caesar
and read
salad. Ugh, who likes Caesar salad?
He's not one of us. No, really. Hail Caesar salad. War something.
fuck am I glad those cunts are gone. If you think comics are bad now, just wait till I get through with this one. Hell Fredonia.
Oh goodness gracious!
I was effectively kicked out of Comicscape because of old War Campaign or War something something, as Mr. Zurcher's talking about.
Are they gone? I didn't know they were.
I
gone.
don't know. They are for me. They went bye-bye for me a long time ago.
Never paid much attention in the beginning, but that was all part of it, and I get what what Ethan was trying to do. I get the joke, but that's not really the role you should have been in at that moment, young man. And the thing is, he's thinking like a young man. He's being very teenagerish about his attitude, Mr. Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah.
Whereas you should have been more adult and took responsibility and tried to be a leader. You're certainly old enough to be it. I mean, you're almost as old as I am, but you can't be a leader. But you're going to sit there and be a little kid and play little games and sit there and chuckle to yourself and think it's all funny. You think that's what a man does? You think that's how a man stands up and actually defends himself and tries to turn something toward what he feels it should be? You think that's a man, Ethan Van Sciver?
I love it. I love everything you're saying right now.
I mean,
because I literally said this to him, by the way. I didn't say it exactly like that, but I literally told him if you would just lead people, they would follow you.
Yep. That's all he had to do.
And he just didn't want to. And that's fine if he doesn't want to. No, you can't be forced into that role.
No, you
but
can't.
Be man enough to admit that you don't want to, right? Just come out and be like, listen, I don't want to lead no movement. Simple as that. And he did say that a couple times to be fair to him.
Yeah, because he was trying real hard to get Richard C. Meyer to be the boss, and we all wanted Richard to take the lead. But Richard is a pussy. Richard Meyer is a pussy. Let's be clear and direct about it. You can contact him if you'd like. He's a pussy. He dropped the goddamn ball. You're going to stir this shit, and then you're not going to stand up and have the balls to lead it? Fuck you, Richard C. Meyer. Fuck you directly.
Amen.
He is a very big disappointment.
He's very big disappointment.
The worst part about Meyer is every one of his original detractors, not the crazies that came out later on Twitter. The original ones were right about him. He's everything they said he was. He's a coward. He's two-faced. He'll backstab anybody who gets in his way, and he just lies. He doesn't tell the truth.
That's a good
and
point.
All
You're
of that is
my sketchbook, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
All of that is correct. Unfortunately, about Mr. Meyer. I didn't want that to be true, but unfortunately, I got the brunt of it once. Booster effectively did, and he's just not an honest person. And we don't have time for dishonest, disloyal pricks.
Yeah.
If you want to make this about saving comics, which was I thought the point originally anyway, we don't have time for your little ego games, Mr. Van Sciver. I'm glad you're making money. I'm happy for you. Good job.
I am too. Yeah.
But you could have been so much more.
You
could have been so much more, dude. Yeah. You could have been a multi-millionaire by now. Multi-millionaire.
Yeah. All he had to do was lead and stand up front. All he had to do was be Stan. Just be Stan Lee, dude. That's all you had to do. And, if Ethan clearly didn't want to be the leader of it, okay, fine. Pass the baton. Right?
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe Angleton will end up being the leader of it. I mean, he's pretty old. Well, he seems to be a pretty responsible fella. Maybe someone eventually who wanted to stand up and be a manager type person would have done that, right?
Yeah.
But Ethan kind of wobbled on it, and then he ended up kind of in essence grabbing the baton and running with it, but in a very childish way. And that's not it might be cute and funny, but it's not what was needed, dude.
Correct.
It's not what was
the reality is the one who probably of that original big group who probably would have been the best leader for it was the one they ostracized as soon as it was convenient, and that was Doug TenNapel.
Doug TenNapel? Yeah, Doug might have been a good leader for it.
The problem with Doug is Doug can come off as arrogant, and he's got a little chip. He's got a chip on his shoulder, but he's damn professional. Yeah, and his work is always done on time, and you get it within a reasonable time frame, and it's amazing. I haven't heard anybody complain about the quality of his product.
He's professional.
And that's what we were all supposedly bitching about, was how the quality. The political agenda was one thing, but it was that on top of the fact that it was shit. It was it's still largely just garbage material that they were putting out and telling us to smile about it. And then they would get online and treat all their fans and their customers and what have you like crap. because they disagreed, because they didn't like, because this, that, or whatever, because they had negative criticism and they can't take it because their little narcissistic egos couldn't take it. That was what we were originally was the point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Doug was in a lot of ways, is the answer to that because his stuff is always quality. And in fairness to Ethan, aside from delays, his stuff is usually quality.
Yeah, that's
like
not
when
the
he gets
problem.
it out there.
There's no problem with Ethan at all. It's just
Yes.
he did decide to grab that baton, but he didn't use it properly. That's my only complaint. I have no trouble
Right.
with his sense of humor and his comedy. That's fine, dude. But as a leader, you have to do things differently. That's it. I think
And
his
now
books are great.
I
His
agree
art
with
is
the
amazing.
chat.
I have no trouble with Ethan Van Sciver whatsoever. The only problem I have is the fact that he dropped the goddamn ball, and he
Yes,
acted like
he
a
did.
stupid kid, and that's what's
He did.
pissing me off.
I agree with the chat. I wouldn't have wanted Doug either for all the reasons you're saying because he can be kind of a prick. But out of that group that we had at the time, he was the best choice for it as somebody who could bring it together professionally and get it done. Just from what we had. I'm talking about playing with the cards we had. We had Ethan, we had Doug, we had Miller, we had Breitweiser, and a couple other guys here or there. Out of that group, it was Tenaple. Tenaple was the most professional and the most accomplished as far as like long career wise. And now personally, no, he's not somebody I would pick to follow into things because he's not that guy. But we have to deal with the cards we were dealt. And my point is out of that group, Tenaple was the guy to go with. Yeah. If Ethan was going to move aside and let somebody else be the star,
which I think
Doug would have been the
to
guy.
Do.
Partially he did. Yeah, he even told me he kind of did. He didn't want to be, he just wants to make his books and do his streams and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, sometimes you don't get that option, right? Yeah. If you want to be stern shit, sometimes that comes with a cost.
Yeah, it does.
That can be that.
And if it was a different situation, him playing that game, go right ahead, dude. But that's not the argument here. But I mean, it's unfortunate that it happened the way it did. It's a dead dog now. It is because now it's just people are making indie stuff and that's great. Go support them, please do. But there is no center now. There is no movement. There is no organization or anything like that. What we see is the comic book pros, many of which we probably don't care for, have gone and done what should have been done here 2 years ago. That's what's happened. And this is why the liberals and I don't even want to call them liberals anymore. These progressives keep winning because they get their shit done. They get it done, dude. And we don't. We sit there and we have idiots who just want to play little stupid games and only think about their own money. And that's cool. I get that. But at the same time, when life gives you opportunity and puts responsibility in front of you, you need to take care of it. You need to do it. You have to step up, even if you don't want to. That's the reality. Because I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh, shit, Ethan doesn't have to do shit. You're right. He doesn't, but he should. It's the same goddamn argument. All these people saying, well, I could do whatever I want. But at the same time, it's just because you can fucking do it doesn't mean you should.
That's right.
So, I mean, and Engeltein was never going to be a leader. Maybe not. I just think he's one of the more responsible people in the group is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe there is no leader. Maybe that's
the reality of it is the guy who we all should have just made as the figurehead to run the business side and turn it into something was Chester, but he's too busy having a hot Japanese wife. And he was just too busy.
I'm way too mob like that. But no, it isn't Chester. The movement is not as strong, but the sentiment is there. That's true. The sentiment is still there. And I support anyone who wants to make indie comics. I agree, Sketchbook, 100%. Yep. The sentiment is there. We just don't have a center, is what I'm saying. There is no center.
As these people.
Yeah, no, we are. Yeah.
We just wanted the boat to be much better.
And we want the boat to not have to be less susceptible to sinking, which means we have to literally take these oars verbally and bash these guys over the head until they either get out of the way or do it right. And that's really the only recourse we have, and that's kind of what we're doing here. We hope it falls on the right ears and they understand where we're coming from. It's not about hatred. It's not about haters. It's not about any childish bullshit deflections you can come up with. We want you to succeed. We need, in fact, the comic book industry, the hobby, the niche, the culture needs you to succeed,
Yeah.
but you refuse to succeed because of your own egos.
Yeah, it's a
And I'm talking to
calling.
all of them. I'm talking to Tenaple. I'm talking to Van Skyver. I'm talking to Brightweiser. I'm talking to Miller. I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to guys we have on here. I'm talking to everybody. If you want to do this, if you really want to do it, you got to put your ego aside and do it. Do the work.
You got to step up to the calling. It's true. Booster, you're trying to get a word in edgewise there.
I was gonna say that when it comes to success, Ethan's certainly doing well. Blood Honey is
Yeah.
getting like fucking millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Thing is, people are spending like $200 on average on his projects. It's craziness.
And good for
So,
Ethan.
you know,
Good for him, dude.
Good.
I'm happy as
good
hell
for
for him.
Ethan. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's just
Now, if he could just turn that into something other than good for Ethan, we could maybe get somewhere. And the things that he claims he wants could get somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
he's too short-sighted, to be
I
honest.
think the anger from me is coming from the fact that even though he didn't want to take the reins, which is fine, but his actions and some of the actions of others killed the momentum. There was
Yep.
an actual movement happening here, an actual movement. It drew me into opening a fucking YouTube channel. Me,
Right.
who has zero time.
Mm.
There was momentum, and it was squandered, right?
Yep.
And that's what irritates me the most. Because your statement is true, which you need someone that is a manager type to have stepped up and managed and organized the chaos of the creators, and that's what you need. And you needed a Stan Lee, because Stan Lee is clearly also a creative, but he was a manager first, it seemed.
He was also a rallying figurehead.
Yeah, he was.
Which Ethan would have been great for, by the way, because he is a pretty charismatic dude.
Mhm.
And he's funny, and
He was made for YouTube, dude. Made for it.
He's affable. He can talk and just have conversations for long periods of time with people. He would have been great for that. He would have killed it. And he's super entertaining when he wants to be. He'll put his ego aside and dress himself up in ridiculous costumes. All kinds of stuff that's just fun to do. But when it comes time to be the businessman, he's not that guy. And that's kind of the problem, I think, is we were hoping that one of them would be that guy, would be the guy to be able to manage a business, or from the business standpoint, and turn that into something with great momentum, with that great momentum, rather. And it just never happened. It just fizzled out, and I think it's largely stagnated. But even in that, I think largely the broader point of customer quality and not woke nonsense, which was the two broader points of CG, has kind of won. They didn't win with Marvel and DC necessarily, but now we have so much indie stuff coming from all over.
Which is great.
Even like guys like Eric July, he's starting a comic book company. You have, I wouldn't consider him indie, but I guess technically he is. You have Todd McFarlane, who put out, what was that, last year or the year before? I think it was last year. That Spawn thing, and it was huge. Stuff like that, and you see, like you said, even more pros are starting to try and dip their toes in here or there, whatever, to try and put out indie stuff. That's a good thing, and the reason that's a good thing, that's actually
Brewster's putting out a comic. Wow.
Brewster's putting out he's working on one, and he's going to have another one eventually too. Spoilers.
But you understand my point. It's dispersed.
No, but wait, it gets better. It gets better, because the thing that saved a lot of video games, a lot of the gaming industry went through a huge slump for about 5 years that nobody talks about for some reason, but it's the truth. From about 2009 to 2012-ish, 2013, 14, somewhere in there, the video game industry was bleeding hard. It was losing sales. There was basically only a couple big franchises that were selling anything. Even perennials were losing money comparatively year on year. And it was the indie revolution, largely thanks to Steam and a little guy named Total Biscuit, rest his soul, who drove a totally new way of making games, and a totally new way of critiquing games, and actually taking this seriously and not treating it just like a hobby, but more like a business, which has its downsides too.
He stepped up, is what he did.
He stepped up, and he didn't want it, by the way. If you I watched him when he had very few subs. He wasn't looking to be that, but that's what he became.
He was a World of Warcraft guy.
Yeah, he just played WoW. That was what he was.
Yeah.
My point is that's how it starts. When you want these, because whether anybody wants to admit or not, Gamergate won. They won.
They did.
They won.
Yeah.
That's the truth. There's some woke games that come out and you hear some nonsense every once in a while, but by and large, they won. The game's quality in a lot of ways went up. You have a myriad of indie games
Yeah.
that are of differing but usually great quality of all different genres. They won.
They did. And the
And I
game
think
journals are completely exposed.
yeah, they're completely exposed. Nobody listens to them anymore. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody takes them seriously. And that's a good thing because I think Comicsgate has won too. They just don't know it yet. Because we
way.
see a branching out into indies. We see new ways of generating revenue for indies. We see new people with clout starting companies to create indies. We see guys with no real clout, just small little guys like our booster here making comics that'll probably make him some money. We see a growth.
It
that's
better
coming.
make me something because it's been a fucking money sink so far.
It is.
We
money
see that
sink. That's the
growth
point. Yeah.
that is coming. It's just not here yet. And I do think that I've been saying it since day one, 2022, 2023, there's going to be a massive cultural shift. This woke stuff is largely going to be relegated to where it belongs, off of our screens and out of our faces. And you're going to see a very healthy comic hobby and industry that might be without the big two, to be honest. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing.
Right. No, I don't disagree with any of that, and that's not what I'm talking about anyway. And Adrian, I haven't mentioned money once. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the loss of opportunity, momentum to have a center. To have a center, we should have built. To be honestly, was a person we keep. We've forgotten to mention that we should have rallied behind and made him the center. Really, is Samedi. Samedi should have been the center.
Yeah.
We should have got behind it. That comic book company should be enormous now, taking tons of indie comics in is what it should have happened. But it got stagnated and it got blasted out, and now we have no center. There's plenty of people making stuff, and that's awesome. You're absolutely right, and that is cool, and we support that 100%. You guys know we do, right?
Yep.
But I'm talking more about the opportunity lost, not what exists now. So. Anyway, but these guys are idiots, and this last statement by Mr. Ordway, replying here is very interesting. Go ahead, Booster.
What do we have here? It's a real shame. It's really a shame that liberals aren't throwing money at non-CG creators like the CG crowds are willing to do to own the libs. I mean, that's a real problem. The idea of owning the libs. I mean, look at the Trump crowd fundraising. They are being fleeced for hundreds of millions, just hundreds of millions.
Now, of course, he's making a comparison that doesn't really translate, because this had nothing to do with owning the libs. This was all about escaping the libs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I'm not surprised that some communist doesn't get it, but I think it's a telling statement, isn't it? Because he's admitting that they're not making money.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's all that is. It's just fear. It's projection. He knows that his chosen area is dying.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. Hopefully that I don't want that. None of us want that to happen.
No.
Really. I mean, spitefully maybe, but not really. We don't want
really.
DC and Marvel to go away, but I think they're gonna. I don't think there's any incentive for whoever buys Warner and for effect DC to keep it going because they're not making any money. And whoever in Marvel, we've heard all sorts of rumors coming out that Disney wants to stop putting out books on and they've already done so. In fact, they cut they cut it way down in the last few years. So I think you're going to start to see more and more of that, less and less and less and less and less, and then eventually they might just become basically what Disney did to LucasArts. Yeah. It's just an IP farm.
We want it to be awesome is what we want, right?
Yeah.
That's what we want. But anyway, this turned out to be a much hotter topic than I thought it would be. Damn.
It's all your fault.
It is my fault. But oh well. It is what it is. I'm not going to put any caveats on it, but I'm moving on. Now, this is another interesting article, and I put it up here in conjunction because this is we know that cosmic book news can't be trusted. I get it. But this is running off a rumor put out by Ethan Van Sciver. Interesting. Go ahead, Booster.
Superman will be gay in DC Comics.
Now, I'm not surprised. Are you?
No.
Not particularly.
Yeah, he can join his gay buddy Robin, and they can have gay old times. But this is interesting
Gale.
here. Let me actually read some of this. Following the recent news of Robin,
Fucking Bendis.
right? Now it's said that DC Comics will be turning Superman gay. The news comes from the former DC Comics artist Ethan Van Sciver, who has been right about the direction of DC Comics in the past. Has he? Okay. Now sources fill in Van Sciver that the Jonathan Kent Superman will be announced to be gay, which will replace the Clark Kent Virgin. Yeah, we know that's going on. I just found out, he said. I got a little bit of a scoop about the DC's plans are. Nobody knows this yet. It hasn't really been announced except by me. The plan is that Superman's book, I guess Clark Kent is going bye bye, said Van Sciver on his popular comic book pro secret YouTube channel. Ethan Van Sciver goes on to explain that DC Comics has had a lot of issues dealing with the trademark to Superman and the dealing with the character's creators and families. Okay. Jerry Siegel and John Schuster, as DC has never really paid them much of anything, and instead will replace Superman. Okay. DC Comics has had a lot of problems maintaining the trademark for Superman because, he's old. He's an old character, and the family would desperately like money because their ancestors who created Superman got completely effed over, said Van Sciver. I mean, Superman has made billions and billions and billions of dollars in revenue, and those two boys who made up Superman got bupkis. Fair enough. They were Jewish, so they got bupkis. They got nothing. Okay, I get the joke. Van Sciver continued. Clark Kent, I guess, is going bye bye, and they are going to replace him with Jonathan Kent. And then they are going to announce that Jonathan Kent is gay, so Superman is effectively gay. Everyone, he is gay. The former Green Lantern artist also said it will happen in the pages of Tom Taylor's Superman comic book, Superman Son of Kal-El, which was recently launched in July. Okay. So, what do you think about this scoop from Ethan?
I don't know why anybody'd be surprised.
Yeah.
They were going to do either gay or make him full canon black, or you know what, just make him a woman. Why not? It's just what we were just talking about. They're going to keep pushing, and the backlash has already come, and largely it's already gone, and that's not a good thing for them, whether they know it or not. See, because when people are lashing out against you, that means they still care. When it's quiet on the home front, that means no one gives a shit anymore.
That is a good
and
point.
I just can't bring myself to care. To me, Superman will always be Kal-El. He is a white alien, or white skin-complected alien, from Krypton, raised by two white people from Kansas.
Yep.
They can dance around that all they want. And he's straight, by the way. He's in love with Lois Lane. They can dance around that all they want, but that's just who he is. That's who will always be to me. If they want to make some nonsense version of Superman that no one's going to read anyway, have fun. Because the vast majority of the world that knows who Superman is, which is the vast majority of the world, knows who Superman is.
Yeah. No, it's true. Ethan does have connections. He did work at DC for quite a while. I mean, this probably is a truthful statement. What do you think about this, Booster?
We'll see.
Okay.
That's all
Fair
I can
enough.
say. I don't know. I don't know if I don't see why Ethan would lie about this.
No, there's no reason whatsoever.
I saw somebody had an actual snippet from what appeared, unless somebody made it themselves, but it looked real, of one of the upcoming books where it basically confirmed that he had a male boyfriend. So I don't think I don't think it's even a stretch. I think it's what they're doing. That's why they've shuffled Kal-El away. Actual Superman's off doing some nonsense, and this is why. Because they don't want to see. That's actually a really good sign. Because if it was, they had a lot of confidence in this, they would have done it to Kal-El. They would have made him gay. They didn't do that.
That's true.
With Son, but if they actually had confidence, they would have totally ice-manned him, and everyone knows it, right? They would have just, oh wow, he's actually gay this whole time. Wow, we unlocked it with some magic woo.
No one.
Well,
no
but
one
also
would believe that shit.
no one would believe that shit, and they still don't believe that shit. But here's the interesting magical thing. Since we're talking about magic, do keep in mind that Jonathan is a little boy who is magically put into a big body. So they're turning a little
Yeah.
boy gay, is what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
because that's fine now, right? It's fine to
Yeah, well, that was
homosexual
Bendis.
things.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
Bendis.
Booster's favorite.
That's right.
Booster's
His favorite.
favorite.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Booster. Get it out. Go ahead. Get it out.
You
Do
want
it.
you want me to do the bin? You want me to do the funny scream?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to go? Is that what people have been waiting on?
Yeah, that's what. Hey, Adrian,
yeah.
what's up, dude?
Hey,
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of address some of the things that Sketchbook was saying in there. He's saying that Myers should have went and sued, instead of suing Wade, he should have sued Antarctic Press. But I don't think there was a lawsuit to be sued, period, like the whole time. I think that was part of the con.
Yeah, it was
maybe.
a grift.
That's maybe.
I said from pretty much day one, and you could probably find a stream where I said it, that lawsuit was going to fail.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Simple as that. There was nothing to it. There was no merit to his lawsuit. I know it sounds like it to people who are on the outside, and it sounds real bad, but the law isn't supposed to go off by the way it sounds.
Sure.
It's called hearsay. We don't want that.
It's not illegal to be a dickhead.
I must go. I love you. Mwah.
Bye, Booster.
Bye, Booster, whatever that was. Go ahead, Adrian.
Oh, no, he's just saying, like, because I was saying they don't even make enough to really sue. Like, he was saying that Myers should have sued. And nothing against my sketchbook, I just don't agree with him. He should have sued AP because, and basically sued them to their pants off and owned the company. Well, that wouldn't have done any good because all the people from AP would have just left anyways. It's just like there would have been no point in doing that. AP's been around forever, since the 90s.
You know, I get all that, but I think there is a positive to it, though, because although there probably wasn't much merit to the case in the beginning, what it at least did was called Mark Wade out.
Sure, I get that. Yeah, that would be the only merit, though.
Yeah.
And what did it do for Mark Wade? It didn't really do anything.
Well, we've seen a bit of silence from him. He hasn't got as much work, so he did take a little financial hit from it.
I'm working for Marvel this whole time.
Yeah,
he's never been out of work.
But we haven't heard much rumbles about Mark Wade.
Well, yeah, true. But he's still working, and he's going to DC next year.
Wonderful. You know, they do recruit failure up. There it is. But fair enough. Anyway, I don't really care, but this is just another reason not to read DC Comics, I guess. Let's move on here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Thunder. This is I want to get. We had a little stretch of dark conversation. Let's have a little bit of fun. Go ahead.
Boom! You got to say it like that. That's how they wrote it. Boom! Studios announces new Magic the Gathering one-shot featuring Tezzeret of Esper.
Okay. Now, great, awesome. But here's the question. Now, I'm assuming everybody here and all you guys over in the chat as well have played Magic the Gathering. I'm assuming we all have.
I have not.
You have.
That's one step too close to D&D for me, and I refuse to get that close.
That's fine. Adrian, I'm assuming you played a little.
Back in the day, like when I was 12.
Yeah, sure. Now here's the thing: is I played tons of Magic. I was actually luckily got involved from in the beta by accident. Of the kind of beta they did. So I played Magic from the beginning and I loved it. I played a whole bunch of those little games that inspired, you know. Garfield created quite an interesting, created his own genre. Good on him, dude. And I have nothing negative about Magic the Gathering. I know they've gotten a bit woke with their kind of silliness, but what hasn't? However, I enjoyed it. The one thing I never got with D&D come out with their Magic the Gathering world, with all this stuff going on to try to make Magic the Gathering a story. It just never sells to me because it's not. It's just a card game.
Yep.
And this is the problem for me because it just doesn't translate that way from in my brain. So this is awesome, cool, but it's like
real quick. I want to back
it.
up what I said about the gaming crash in 2008. From 2008 to 2010, there was a 13% drop in total sales. They went from selling $21 billion in revenue in 2008 to $18.58 billion in 2010.
Yeah.
That's total revenue. So
Yeah.
there was this, it wasn't, I'm not talking like it was a bottom out crash, but it was not good. It was going down, and it kept going down until about, I think, 2013, 2014. I could check, but I'm pretty sure that's when it turned around. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And Elrod, everyone agrees. That's true. But anyway, so that's the only thing that's a little bit hard for me. It's like, okay, but good, I guess. What do you think about this, Adrian?
I don't know. I haven't had much interest in Magic for a long time. I guess it's good. I don't know. They've been doing sinister stuff too, from what I can tell.
They have done some, yeah, they have. The art looks good though. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
art's never been a problem for the most part when it
Nope.
comes to Magic, though.
That's true.
But they've always had phenomenal artists. I mean, back in the day, honestly, they probably had worse artists back in the day than what they do now. I mean, I follow a lot of Magic artists, and they're some of the best.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they do have some amazing art, that's for sure. And Ravika, of course, with D&D come out with the Ravika campaign book. And I know they're trying to push it to be a real place and all that. And
Yeah.
good for it. I hope they have success. I just have a feeling there's a lot of people like me that just never envision it as being a real thing. It's just a card game, right? But I don't have any begrudge them trying to make it so though.
I mean,
You know.
I think it's a good try. Like, I think it's something that's worth trying, right? Like, at least they're
Yeah.
trying something a
Yeah.
little bit new.
Yeah.
They're
I
trying
agree.
to change things. Like, I would rather that happen than D&D,
Yeah.
you know, like be turned into Magic or whatever, or like mixing both of them together or whatever. I'd rather
Sketchbook has a good
separate
point
those
here.
things.
He said Magic started to get convoluted even before it was woke. There's two problems.
Yeah.
The Donald John Trump, number 45, the other day said everything woke turns to shit. That was a quote, direct quote from him.
Yeah.
He's not totally correct. He is correct, but there's also another part to it. A lot of things go woke because they already turned to shit, and they use it as a marketing strategy.
Maybe.
True.
And I think that's kind of what happened with Magic. From my very outside perspective, I could be completely wrong, but I had heard rumblings of people weren't happy with Magic for a little while.
Yeah.
Whether it was convolution or just this or that or another thing. And then all of a sudden you started hearing about how they're changing cards and they're changing art and they're doing all this stuff. And I think it was probably that they went woke or started to lean that way as a marketing ploy more than anything else.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we know that simply doesn't work, but these companies keep trying it. So maybe we're the dumb ones, even though their numbers keep tanking. Maybe we're just crazy. We're not seeing what our eyes are showing us.
I think Magic might have taken a hit just because D&D got big.
Again, yeah, come back, yeah.
Yeah, they had a comeback. I mean,
They did. Yeah.
Wait, was it good? I don't know. I mean, they changed a lot of things because of it, but
well, what happened was the third edition was just an absolute monster, right? The OGL came out during that time, which was a very clever move because the amount of content being created for third edition and since then is quite impressive. But what happened was the people over at WotC made a decision that let's take D&D and let's turn it into a card game / video game on the table, and they came out with fourth edition to do that, and it failed quite miserably. The old school people completely dropped it, and what happened was Paizo, which was producing, it's a place you can go buy games, a store, online store. They were producing the Dragon and Dungeon magazine, and the people over at WotC decided, well, magazines are dead. They're no longer going to be existing in the future, so they just stopped making it, and they made it digital. Well, of course, the Paizo people got pissed off, but because the OGL, they took the OGL, which is the Open Gaming License, and they made their Pathfinder, which is third edition OGL, and they absolutely cranked it, and they became the big tabletop game. And D&D fell
I remember that.
Right, and then fifth edition came out, and D&D went back on top in ridiculously fast.
That's a lot to do with the social media aspect of how they incorporate. I mean, you got to give it to them, incorporating people who were playing online, which they didn't start out being advocates for the companies. But when they started seeing these people getting numbers, I mean, like Critical Role, right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't start out being advocates for Wizard of the Coast,
No, but
but they are now.
money motivates people to do a lot of things,
But
and they're
now,
ultra woke too.
Money.
They're ultra
and,
woke too.
oh yeah, totally. But I mean, they're still pretty entertaining. I watched Critical Role for quite a while, and the other thing about that is, they've built on their own game worlds now
They
with
have.
that.
Yep.
I
You can buy a
mean,
campaign.
the online boom of playing D&D on YouTube really helped. And I think maybe Acquisitions Incorporated might have started that just a bit too, but
Yeah.
but Critical Role really like
The
stepped it up
reality is, like I was saying earlier with video games, one of the things that helped turn it around and bring back actual diversity in games, because if you remember for a while there, you could only really get like shooters and sports games, and maybe occasionally an RPG would come out, but it typically was a shooter as well. There was just like strategy games and stuff; they were just kind of gone. Aside from a
Yep.
few big names, they were gone for a while. Like 4X's and stuff, they just didn't exist. And then what largely changed that, was the free marketing guys like Total Biscuit and others, Angry
Yep.
Joe's as well. He gets credit too, who on YouTube, who were just bringing in these big audiences.
Yeah.
And that's free marketing. And if they liked it, people bought it. I bought a whole bunch of games because TB said it was good. And I watched him play it for 40 minutes in his review or whatever, and it looked awesome. It's just reality. Like that free marketing with long form marketing, which is what it is at the end of the day, right? Like Twitch streamers or whatever. It's just long form marketing where somebody's actually using the product and you get to watch them do so.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's good, it typically can sell itself. You can have 1 million people playing it on Twitch, 2 million, 10 million people watching. If the game sucks, the game sucks. You know, gaming is still largely about if the game is good or not. If it's good, and by good, that's subjective, of course, right? What is the game trying to do? Like Among Us, right? That's a game that most people would say is good for what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Is it a great masterpiece, cinematic RPG? No, of course it's not, but it's still fine for what it is. It's doing what it wants to do and it does it well. I think that's kind of what's happened here with D&D, because D&D is pretty much whatever you want it to be, right? You can make any rules you want, technically.
That's true.
So watching a bunch of people play it who don't come off as super ultra mega nerds always, some of them do, but not always. Some of them just look like normal people. That helps. That's going to help, of course. It's free marketing. They don't have to pay anything for it necessarily. All they have to do is just not get in the way. And a lot of these companies now have learned over the last decade or so how important that is. So like the gaming industry is the perfect example for it. That they know, and they reach out to YouTubers and streamers and everything, and sponsor them and do sponsor streams and pay insane amounts of money for it, hundreds of thousands of dollars depending how big you are, just to play their game for like 8 hours a day, right? For 8 hours for a couple days or whatever. That's all you got to do, and they pay you more than most people make all year. And
sorry.
No, I'm almost done. And that you're starting to see now, others have caught on, right? You see it now more often in other types of products, even media, where they have, like, you can go on YouTube. They've been doing this for a few years now, but you can go on YouTube. You can watch basically like commentaries. They won't be full commentaries, but to some degree, of like stars of movies watching their movie, right? Stuff like that. And all of that is because of early YouTube, and I say early, like 2012 YouTube, 2011, where people were playing video games and reviewing them, and it made a big boom in the gaming market. And I was looking at the numbers because I was double checking to make sure I was correct. And 2010 they sold like 18.5 billion, something like that. 2014, by 2014, it was $30 billion. In that stretch of time, they gained that much money. And they did that largely because, not totally, but largely because diversity had returned to the market in a lot of ways. Steam came out, or Steam had grown in popularity. YouTube gaming was huge in driving sales. That was when Minecraft kind of took over stuff for a while. all this to say that every single one of these type of entertainment industries can and should do this. And the ones that get in the way, like the music industry, are actually hurting themselves. So, like recently, last year or the year before, you got streamers on Twitch started getting strikes for playing music, whereas for years they had done so and nobody gave a crap. That was a terrible decision. I don't know where that came down from, but that was so stupid because you just had infinite free marketing for your song while this guy's doing something else, not even paying attention to it. And there's tons of music that became popular because a streamer had it on his stream.
Yep.
I know that for a fact that happened. And
100%.
that's gone now. That's all gone.
Yeah, it's dumb. Adrian?
I was going to say, I agree with Sandaro there. I mean, it's obviously the marketing aspect of things. It's a smart move. Like he was saying with the music industry, it completely blew my mind that they would go after people like that, because I know people personally that went and bought and figured out what songs were in the game because they liked the songs, and then bought those.
It actually created an app that would listen and tell you.
Right.
The niche market, right?
But like, along with like what we were talking about, like the D&D thing is like, you go to their channel and the channel is filled with D&D game sessions now.
Yep.
But not only that, they also have like live streams to premiere whatever their big new product is.
Yeah,
like
if you're the right streamer, though, Adrian.
Well, I know it's not everybody. What I'm saying is, though, they've taken those streamers and they've used it, and it works in their favor. I mean, you can sit there and say they're woke or not. It doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, like, go look at their subscription list. Go look at how many people watch those streams. It's insane.
Well, here's the thing, though. I get your point, and you're right. But in regards to tabletop, RPGing and board gaming as well, they both kind of fit in the same category.
Yeah, you're right.
What happened is you had these wokey uppies come in and doing a lot of these YouTube channels for playing D&D and for board gaming and all those kind of stuff, and it's great. It built the industry. It brought in literally millions of people, which is awesome. And the more the merrier for most of us. We're like, that's great. That's good. More attention, better products, better art, etc., etc. The problem is then a lot of the new people who came in, instead of saying, hey, this is fun and we're going to do it the way we want, awesome, they were like, no, you have to do it the way we want you to or get out, even though they're the newcomers. Yeah. That's the problem. All of us are like happy to have more people involved. I don't care if we have the same politics or not. That doesn't mean shit. But they care. That's the problem. And they've hurt the tabletop world in that way. Are they making more money? I'm sure they are. But in the long run, you're slapping people in the face that you have no need to be doing so to.
Well, Chester, I have to say something
I would agree.
Now. You were kind of right. So on my other screen here, I have a YouTube video muted. It's a Brock Lesnar learning how to butcher a pig.
Nice.
Why wouldn't I want to watch that? Yeah. And I'm watching this guy cut this meat, and it's very cathartic. I like it. It's relaxed. I don't understand what is that. This dude's got this real sharp knife. He's just going right through the meat, nice and even, and it's just like, oh, why does that interest me? Am I becoming an old man?
I thought happened. I thought you said I was benign.
Well, yeah. No, I said banal, actually. Banal.
Oh, banal. We'll take both.
But I get it. I get it now. That's very. I don't know why, but it's very appealing.
It is. It is. But anyway, this is a new comic book coming out for a particular character in Magic the Gathering. I hope it's awesome. Yeah. I hope they're successful. I hope in the long run they can create an actual world out of that card game. It might be fun. That'd be cool. Good on them, and the art looks amazing, and of course Magic the Gathering always has good art, so I think this is a positive. It's an interesting thing, and see how it develops.
Chester, I don't know what your last stuff you had here was, but I think we should say screw that, and we should watch. We don't have to stream the trailer, but we should watch together the new Spider-Man trailer, because it just dropped right in the middle of our show.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, I might have to. We might have to look at that. If I play it here, they'll claim it. They'll
Yeah,
shut me
yeah.
down.
Don't
play it
stream it
now.
through, but we can watch it
Which is
at the
another
same
dumb
time.
thing. You put out. It's the same thing with you were just talking about with
I
the
don't
music.
understand that either.
Yeah, it's a trailer. You want people to see your trailer. Who do you care who's showing it?
It's free.
It's free.
Free advertising.
But let's get through these two, and that I have left. The
He's
other,
bored. Yes.
yeah, these are both the same. We'll finish off with the other
God.
one first. This right here is HBO Max is going to be taking the Black Canary character, which is not Black Canary, and making it into a thing. And it's using the same lady who has worked with this lady on the Lovecraft Country, which failed completely. So good on them.
So you're
Great
telling
team.
me
It's going to be awesome.
Black Canary, a character that nobody really knows or cares about, is getting a series before Nightwing, is what I hear. That's all I hear.
That's what you hear. Yeah. And it's being created by the same lady who made Lovecraft Country, which failed miserably. She's getting another project on HBO Max, and this girl is the girl from Lovecraft Country. So the director and the actress have worked together before; they're friends. And of course, she was in the whatever that Margot Robbie movie was they came up with. So
Birds of Prey.
yeah, so not a lot of hope here. But that's nowhere near as interesting as this. So let's get into it. Go ahead.
Phase 4. Phase 4. Theme of the Marvels. Filmed to be pain and trauma. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Now,
I'm already bored.
well, this is Nia DaCosta, all right? And this lady is telling us that Marvel's the movie coming out. It's a movie, not a series, I think. And it's going to not be just comic book escapism. Okay. Instead, it's going to be looking at the struggles and pains and horrible trauma of Black people. That's the movie they're giving you, right?
Told you. I tried to warn you.
So
Yeah, well,
so let's all
whatever.
go down to the theater together for that bit of joy, right? I
Let's
mean,
go down there to be told that we're terrible people because we were born with the wrong skin color. How dare we?
Yeah. So
Let's just move on and ignore them.
yeah. Well, we will. I'm not going to watch this, but
No.
I'm just saying it's
You don't know more than anybody at this rate.
but they're literally shooting themselves in the foot. Or the face maybe would be even better because it's like
this one's going right through the skull. They're just deep throating that shotgun at this point.
They are.
Good Lord.
But just imagine if they just okay, it's all female cast, great. And what if you just made a great, fun, entertaining movie that was like, hey, that was fun. How about that? How about that being your wokeism? How about that being your activism? Making a great all-female cast movie. How about that? No. But they have to tell us about the horrible trauma of the Black people in America. And I'll say this straight up. There are two types of blacks in America, and we all know this, right? You have the normal blacks who are just Americans. They just happen to be of African ancestor. They're just another American. Then you have the other group, right? And the other group are basically just can't get the fuck over themselves. They think they are so special, and they won't shut up about their specialness. That's the reality.
It's funny because the other day, the wife and I were at a restaurant, yesterday actually, and we were just eating lunch, and there was this black guy and this white kid. I don't know their relationship, but they were. The black guy was just teaching it, was telling him, because the kid was trying to figure out what he wants to do. He was, I'm assuming, senior in high school or junior, and he's figuring out what he wants to do. And they were just talking. I could overhear their conversation a little bit. And he started talking about going into trades. And he's like, that's what you should do. But if you do that, you got to work really, really hard. To get ahead, to make it, you're going to have to work really, really hard, which isn't necessarily true anymore because tradesmen are making insane money. But still, it was. I was like, okay, so he's the type you were talking. He's just a regular American.
Just a dude.
He just happens to be black. Yeah. He's telling him the truth that you got to get out there and bust it. And he's talking to a white boy too, right?
Yeah.
You got to get out there and bust it if you want to make good money. That was very nice to hear. It was very refreshing, and I even pointed it out to my wife, and we just kind of chuckled about it because there's so many. Not so much in this area. I haven't ran into any of them, but there are so many you see on social media of whites and blacks of that age, especially, that are they're just pathetic people, and they blame the whole world for their own issues and their own hang-ups and their own failures, or even not their failures, just not their successes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. They're
it's just tiring. It's
Well, they're
tiring to listen to.
Well, yeah, and they're radically entitled, is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how
Yeah.
long it's going to take for people to realize that, because it's not just black people, it's white people and Latinos and Asians that are part of this. How long is it going to take people to realize it's not about skin color, it's about culture. It's a culture
Yeah.
issue, not a skin color issue, right?
Yeah.
And because like I said, there are plenty of people of various colors who are just Americans. They're just people, right? These people are entitled brats. That's what they are.
Yeah, you're right. It's entitlement. I mean, I deal with it at my job all the time. People expecting you to know everything and anything, and if you don't, then why don't you know that? Because I don't.
What do
Like,
you mean in regards to what?
I work at a grocery store,
But you
so
don't know what? Well, what manner of ignorance do you
like
have?
they'll be looking for something, and I won't have it, and they'll be like, "Well, why don't you have it?"
Oh, I see.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know because our vendor doesn't bring it in. Like, it's very simple.
It's tied to the
It's-
same thing, right? These people who
Exactly. It's an entitlement. And
Yeah.
the worst I've dealt with are white people. It's
Yeah,
not.
sure. No, the Karen
The
is a disease, dude, without question.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
awful.
It's right in front of you. It's right there. It's not
all the time.
skin color. It's culture.
It-
It's right in front of
exactly.
you, right?
Affluent white female liberals, especially, they're the worst.
Yeah.
Everything it needs to be handed to them on a silver platter. There's a reason we call them awfuls, because they're awful.
Yeah. And the black college girls have doing their best to race and catch up with them. They're trying their best, and I understand
seem
there's
to be.
another demographic, a ghetto demographic that has problems as well. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah, dude,
I'm not
but
talking about
I'm
that.
gonna be honest, like as far as it goes for me at my work, I've never had a problem with anybody but the white people.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
They are the most entitled people that I've ever had to deal with.
right.
Like if I don't have an answer for them right now, right this minute, then why don't I have that answer?
Yeah, but
Well, because I don't have all the answers.
when you run into a normal American, whatever their color they might be, they're also
Yeah.
very forgiving and helpful, aren't they?
100%. Yeah.
So it is a culture thing, and it's
The
shocking
worst
to
is
me.
when I tell people that I don't have a product, right? And they're like, "Well, it's supposed to be over here." Well, if I tell you I don't have it, it's not supposed to be over there because I don't have it. Like they try to tell me how to do my own job.
Yeah, no, that's true. I can see that happening. That is a good thing, and I've become a little anti-jaded in a way by living
Yeah,
here in
sure.
Japan, because you never see that. You never
I
see that.
imagine not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've become spoiled in a way because I live in a very functional culture, right? They have their problems. Don't get me wrong, and they do. But these are not their problems that we're talking about here. And
Right.
I don't miss it. I can tell you that. Because like my last job I had for 7 years, I worked in Hawaii, and I was basically running a mutual housing association there, which is low income housing. And one thing that taught me was the worst people in the world are rich people and poor people,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they have too much goddamn free time, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So but yeah, this is so dumb. I mean, just make something fun, man. Make your activism about it being women. Of course, as far as you're concerned, I'm sure there's never been a woman ever in a star of anything. Sure, okay, fine. We know how dumb you are, but just make something entertainment. And I do agree, Joshua, or Bill. She does look like Gizmo.
Yeah,
This is so cute.
they were saying Kamala Khan looks too young over there.
Well,
But
she's supposed to be young. She's a teenager.
yeah, I think she looks like she's probably the right
That's
age.
what everybody wants. More Kamala Khan.
Yeah, no, this is a
Oh,
trash
you
fire.
know it.
But particularly because of the theme they're going with, and it's dumb. No one wants to see that. But the thing is
Yeah.
unfortunate about the Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, is if you guys remember when the comic first came out, it was pretty good. I was like, ooh,
No,
this is
yeah,
a
it
new
was pretty
character.
good.
It was good.
I
I liked
read
it.
like a few of the trades before it got real
Yeah.
bad.
And it just went downhill crazy fast. And I'm like, what a shame. It's a new character that you've tied into your world quite cleverly. It is a
The art
diverse
wasn't bad.
character. Huh?
The art wasn't bad. The art
Art
was
wasn't bad?
different, but it
No.
wasn't
It was
bad. It
good.
was like a good different.
What a shame, you know.
Mm.
And now they have to push her 24/7. She is they want to because they wanted to make Captain Marvel the face of Marvel. Carol Danvers here, and that has failed.
Yeah.
That is just failing over and over and over. So they've switched gears, and now they want to make Kamala Khan the face of Marvel because you can't have a man as the face of Marvel clearly these days.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you had an opportunity to have a fun character that you decided to screw up because of your dumbass thinking. But nevertheless, no one's got to watch this shit. You're dumb. You're literally destroying yourself before you even start. So genius, yeah, genius. But anyway, that's the offer for today. We did have some interesting things in it. Well, a lot of it was comic book related. Elrod,
Yeah,
Elrod,
That's
he's a
good.
curmudgeon. Have you noticed that?
he's a bit,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a curmudgeon, but that's okay. We love everybody here. But thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Adrian, for jumping in. Keep in mind, guys, if you're
No
on the
problem.
Discord, you can come in. We're that kind of place. We welcome you to come and talk. We want to hear your voice from day one. Day one, we've been this way the entire time. This is not a channel that's here to make money. We're not trying to become famous. We're just having chats together, and we're happy to have you come on and share your voice with us, literally. And please do that. And it's easy to do. Just become part of our Discord, which I saw that Thundero dropped the link up there, and hopefully he'll drop it again. Just join our Discord, get on there, and join us on the live. We'd love to hear from you, man. I mean, seriously. Even if we don't agree, that doesn't matter. This is a place where you can actually disagree with each other, and we can be happy at the end of the day, right? So, please do so. Don't, this isn't that kind of channel, guys. But anyway, Adrian, you got any kind of closing comments you want to make?
Uh, no, not really. I
Are we
mean,
are
I
we
think
watching this
that
trailer?
We are. We want
watching
to
it
watch
now.
it. We'll watch it after, but not live here. We'll get hit for sure, dude.
Well, we don't have to stream it through. You just watch it, give our reactions
Oh,
to it.
you want them to hear the reaction? Oh, okay. So you go
Yeah.
to the Discord. All right, let's go over. Let me go over. I see what you're saying.
I
Okay,
know.
okay, okay, okay.
I got you.
So I can do like this. Oh no, I can't do that. Let me pop it over. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Here. Okay. All right. And I'll bring it over. Okay. All right. So, all right. Oh, you wanted to okay, fine. So, let's go ahead and watch it. But see, I can't mic it through though because it'll be
Yeah, don't.
picked up.
Yeah, it's fine. So, have you started it?
Yeah, but I can't
Yeah.
mic it through though. I can't listen to it though.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No, because they'll hear it. If I do, it'll go
Oh,
right through.
all right. Okay, well then we'll just talk about it next show. That's
Yeah,
fine.
we will. All right, so let me get out of this then real quick, and I will come over here and say goodbye. So thank you all very much. Oh, I don't want that. Let me come back over to here, and we will talk to you guys. Keep in mind that tomorrow, because Bill's busy, we won't have our Bugbear's Basement, so that's canceled. Come on back this week. Adrian, you have any idea what we're doing on Drone and Quartered?
I do not.
Yeah, I don't know either. But that's cool. I know it's
But
planned though. Those guys got that organized. But I'm not in charge of that show. I mean, it's not even my show. It's Pixel Trader show. I just kind of host it here, and that's
who?
fine.
It's who? Whose
Pixel
show?
Trader, Pixel Trader.
Who's that?
But those guys make all those decisions and stuff. I don't really know, and that's all. That's all good. I like it that way. Actually, it's more fun. But come back and check it out, though. It certainly is a fun thing to do, and we'll check you guys all out definitely next Sunday. I don't know that we'll have any TFT for it. TFT, yeah, tinfoil talk, yeah, TFT. I don't know if we'll have any of that for you, unless you had some brilliant idea, Thundero.
I don't. If anybody has an idea, just anything, I don't even care. Make something weird. Some weird conspiracy thing. We'll talk about it. Bring it. Bring it on.
Sounds good.
We would
Um,
love to hear it.
I'll say check out Ryan Cardinal's new book, Caius 2. He's releasing that here real like I think it's actually out. Like he's on the Indiegogo now for it, but he has like a trailer on his channel, and it's pretty good. Like he
Well,
animated a trailer and everything.
yeah, no, we saw it. We looked at it. It looked really good, actually. Ryan,
Yeah.
he's a good guy too. Matter of fact,
Yep.
if Ryan's listening or any of you guys know him, tell him to come over here. Let's take a look at the book. We'd love to talk to him again. All
Yeah,
right,
I'll send
guys.
him a message.
Yeah, please do. Definitely, we enjoy looking at those things. Well, we'll talk to you next week, guys. Later.
All right, later.
Bye.